Hello, everybody. Welcome to our podcast. We are Nerdy AF,
My name is Finch,
and I'm Kayla.
and this podcast talks about all things nerdy. We discuss topics related to 3D printing, cosplaying, Comic Cons, movies, and TV, and we work to bring creators on the show to learn more about their crafts and interests. Collectively, we like to call ourselves part of a nerddom.
So grab your nerd card and come join us as we get Nerdy AF.
Hey, folks, welcome back to the podcast. I am Finch. This is Kayla, and we're very excited for this episode. Frank, Mr. Frankly Built, as you may well know him, came on the show, and both Kayla and I have been, I guess, fans of his for a long time.
Yes, we have. And it's been really great to kind of come together now, with me and Finch becoming friends as of more recently, only a couple months, and really bonding over things like 3D printing and to have what I would consider, the king of 3D printing himself, the one who got both of us really into it and being able to problem solve our issues with 3D printers. It's really kind of cool to reminisce and kind of see where Frank has really gone from his beginning to where he is now and what kind of plans he's really looking forward to in the future.
And I'm sure all of you out there know who Frank is. And the crazy thing is that we both have this. Both Kayla and I have these like stories involving Frank and how we got to where we are. I was one of those people who I had gotten into 3D printing. Was horribly frustrated with it. Was like ready to completely give up on it completely, and one day just decided to like type into YouTube a question I had about 3D printing, and like up popped Frank's channel. And I like went 100% down the rabbit hole, watched every single video, learned so much. And I loved his enthusiasm. I loved his energy, his ability to explain things really concisely, but also in an entertaining fashion. And at the time, I was doing the podcast. I was doing the old podcast, The Finch Show, which at the time didn't have any sort of direction. It was just sort of a like whoever, whenever. And after watching the YouTube channels, I thought, like, man, this guy Frank, like, he'd be phenomenal to have on the show. So I sent him an email just randomly, like, hey, my name is James Finch. I do a podcast called The Finch Show. I'd love to have you on. And he emailed me back like within like 5 minutes and was like, yeah, let's do it. And so he came on the show. And after he was on the show, that's when I sort of decided, like, this is great. Like, this is the kind of stuff I love talking about. And at that point in time, decided to direct the entire podcast into this theme of like 3D printing and cosplay and those kinds of things.
Yes, and honestly, when we look back at it, if that didn't happen for Finch, and then also if I wouldn't have gotten into 3D printing, which for me, I did learn from Frank at the very beginning and saw that that was possible to create for ourselves, you would not have Nerdy AF today, and we would not have the great friendship that we have. So thank you, Frank, for doing that for us and creating something really wonderful without you even knowing it and kind of still trying to be a part of it now. That has been established. But I agree with Finch. When it comes to the impact that Frank left on us, he may have not known it before this podcast, but it has been very significant, and I'm sure many of you guys can agree this the same kind of impact. I've been really fortunate to be able to just see how much you can do with your own kind of creative thinking and being able to make whatever you want to make with 3D printing. And I think it really opened up a lot of avenues where it's designing, if it's printing the actual models to then sell or doing all of that, plus, even the painting, the priming, or just doing that part. It gives you so many opportunities to really work with your hands and find something that you're proud of and also directly aligned with something that you're interested in. 3D printing really does open the opportunities and it's become almost endless, which is really cool to see so many people really get into it in a variety of different ages.
For sure. And like if it was possible for us to have a counter of like the amount of people that Frank has probably gotten into 3D printing throughout the course of the time he's been doing this. I mean, it would just, I'm sure it'd be an absolutely astronomical number, and Kayla's absolutely right. And it's fantastic. And, we were talking, I didn't want to say this on any of this on the air with Frank because he's such a nice guy. I know he'd just blush and be like, oh, shucks, guys, but I mean, here I am sitting here with Kayla, who is like, by all rights, my absolute best friend. And we plan on like doing these things where we're flying to like Dragon Con or we're flying to New York City Comic Con. And, like we said, if Frank doesn't exist, we don't meet. Like we would just be like off in the world, like not knowing what it is we're missing in life. And so, Frank, if you're listening to this for that, I want to say thank you. And the other cool thing about Frank is that when we first decided that we were going to join together and do this Nerdy AF podcast, we definitely had in our heads that Frank was somebody that we wanted to have on the show. But literally the minute we announced on Instagram that we were launching this new podcast, he contacted us and said, I want to come on. Tell me when and where. And that's just another testament to just what an awesome person he is.
Agreed. And so we definitely kind of fangirled over Frank, as one may expect. And so with this today's episode, we talked a lot about different things. We talked about only Franks, which you'll understand soon. We talked about just how important it is to prioritize mental health when it comes to getting into cosplaying, or also just growing a social media presence. And we talked about some of the challenges you may face when it comes to cosplay wear, or kind of getting into that for the first time, as well as just trying to really, grow a platform and seeing where your interests lie. So without further ado, let's get nerdy AF. Hi, everyone. My name is Kayla, and this is...
I'm Finch.
And
this is Frank, right?
Hi. Hi.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us, Frank. We are going to be talking today with him a little bit about 3D printing and some upcoming Comic-Cons that he's planning on doing, and also the projects that he's working on. It's been a great journey to watch Frank build himself up into the person that he is today, and seeing the community that he's really brought together, and inspiring a lot of other people to join the 3D printing community, such as myself. And thank you, Frank, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's cool to be on the new podcast. This is
this is the venture that we're on, and we're so glad you decided to take the time to join us. You're since the last time you and I really spoke, it's been about 6 months, and your life has kind of been crazy since then. And
has it been that long?
Yeah, I think March, I think it was, or was it end of February, somewhere in there?
Oh my God.
I listened to the podcast the other day, and I think it was when Frank was coming up on like 2.5 years of 3D printing.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever that was.
Yeah, that was like shortly, just before WonderCon, I think last year is when you were on last. And it's been pretty crazy. And you've got, you're heading to Silicon this weekend. Is that right?
Yes. Silicon, San Jose. It's exactly a year. Wow, a lot happened since that year. Jesus, what is my life? Silicon last year, it was my first con, like my first in-suit convention. And that was the first place all the Iron Idiots met up. Like I had met Emily before, I had met Danny before they came to North Carolina to hang out. Still hadn't met Kiera, and we all met up there for the first time with our suits. Met up with some other people, Dylan Sappingfield, he has a Iron Man suit, Guillermo, Double Take Cosplay. So we rolled deep with 6 Iron Men, and it was awesome.
That's a lot. I don't think I've ever seen like barely one at a con, much less 6.
Yeah, that's where we took this photo.
Oh, and Adam,
awesome.
With Adam Savage too.
And every time I look at this photo, I cannot help but point out why I don't know why Kiera looks like she's 12. She looks it's weird, but like this was us just wanting to get a photo op the next day, and it was and now a year later going back, and like,
how tall is Danny? Is he like freaky tall? Like Slenderman?
No, he's 6'1", 6'2". I'm 5'8". I'm short.
Yeah,
I literally had somebody at work today who has actually watched my videos come up to me. He was like, "Anybody ever tell you you're a lot shorter in person?" I'm like, "Yeah, my videos make me seem taller, I think."
Ouch. The confidence that adds a few inches.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah. It's something has to add the inches because it's not my height.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm 5'8" too. So, and for those of you out there who want to know, 5'8" is actually the average height for a male in the United States. So
you had that loaded because you needed to.
Yeah, I've had it loaded for years because I haven't gotten any taller.
The global average is 5'6". Ask me how I know.
Oh. Well, Europeans are short. They don't get enough food. So yeah, that makes sense. Totally. Well, I just wonder, because looking at that picture, Danny's taller than Kiera. And I was like completely unaware of how tall Kiera was till I met her in person. I was like, oh my God.
I am the shortest one in the group. I'm the shortest one in this photo. Kiera's taller than me. Emily's taller than me. Danny's taller than me. Adam, obviously. Yeah. I'm short. iron short guy. But in the suit, I'm almost 6 foot, so I'm fine.
Oh wow, that adds some. That's nice.
Oh, it's like high heels. I very much can sympathize for people who wear high heels because that's what it feels like wearing them for like 6, 7 hours. They boost me up about 3 inches, and then my helmet adds like about an inch.
That's how you do it. I know we are talking about doing cosplay. I have a Homelander cosplay in the works, but I wanted to add more of like a feminine touch to it. And so, but I wanted the height, just like how Anthony did, and because he had blue heels, and I have that 5-inch heels, so I'm almost 6 feet in those. Pretty dope. I can touch my ceiling, and I'm like, wow, I know what power feels like. But Frank, when it comes to that first Comic-Con, what were some valuable things that you felt like you learned when it comes to either just, wearing the suit or how to kind of go about things when it comes to interacting with people who know you?
If the biggest thing, period, dot, I think in any cosplay, but I think it multiplies, and the more uncomfortable the costume, like Iron Man suits are nothing great. I would much rather be in a Spider-Man suit or like a Mandalorian costume. They look fantastic. Obviously you test drive it around the house a little bit, right? You'll put the legs on, do a little bit of walking, you do that test fit. But more than anything, if it hurts, if you feel it pinching a little, if it hurts even just a little at home, where you're not walking around, where your adrenaline's not pumping, where you're not sweating, where you're not bloated, it's not going to get better at the con. If you're, oh, yeah, my knee pinches a little bit, I'll be fine. Famous last words, shut up, fix it. Like, it is the worst thing you can do. Armor pinch is real. If your feet are uncomfortable a little bit just walking around your house, trudging along 4 or 5 hours at a con, you're not going to tough it out. So fix comfort. I mean, it's comfort. Comfort is key. If you have to sacrifice a few things for that, like it's not as accurate, or there's a little bit more of a gap here, no one cares. Like, people care so much less than you do from your own critiquing eyes. And like, especially in an Iron Man suit, as long as like your hand lights up and the mask goes up and down, no one's looking at your feet. Like, no one's looking at your, oh my God, those aren't Iron Man boots. Those are just red shoes. No one cares. No one's looking that hard. They want the picture. Cool, awesome, and move on. It's fun. It's fun to do that. And I think people they compare. I'll get messages. Oh, I'll post a picture of my suit, and I'll get a message saying, I wish my suit would look like yours one day, or I can't. I tried to get the paint to look good to do this. Like, but you're looking at a still picture that I selected to post. Of course, I'm going to pick the best one. Of course, I'm going to put my best foot forward. Like, don't stress comparing yourself to other people's work, because I can sit here all day and show you everything wrong with that, and you'd be like, I couldn't tell in pictures. That's the point.
Yeah, for sure. And you now last year when you went to Silicon, you just kind of like went it as an attendee, but this year you got like the full booth situation going on, right?
Yeah. If I could tell you a quick story about be nice to everybody, because this is literally a story of that. Always be endearing, never feel like you deserve to be anywhere, because you don't. You're take everything in strides, because I was just walking around the con. I think it was the second day we were in the suits, and I was just walking around. I think the group had wandered off somewhere, because everyone gets scattered, and then some people get stopped for pictures, and then another Iron Man waddles away, but then you get stopped, and eventually you're all going to end up back in the hotel room. It's fine. You're not going anywhere. And I just ran up to this guy, and he stops me. It was him and his daughter. He looked like, if he ever sees this, I think he's in his 40s, late 40s. And his daughter, teenager-ish blonde girl. And he's just like talking to me about the suit. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. And he had a badge on, but I couldn't really tell what the badge was. And he's asking me about it, and like the motors and all of that. And we're just kind of nerding out. And he's like, yeah, let me show you my suit. And he pulls out his phone, and it's him in a Batman costume, like a Christopher Nolan, a Batman costume. And I'm like, that looks incredible. He's like, yeah, Adam lent it to me. Adam who? And his daughter kind of like nudged him, and she's like, Dad. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm Trip. I'm the CEO of Silicon. Oh, you're like the guy who runs it. Adam's name's on it, but here is you're the guy. You're oh, hi sir. Yeah, we were talking for like 20 minutes, and then he decides to be like, and he wasn't trying to like keep it from me. He just didn't think it was important. And his daughter kind of was like, hey, so I thanked him a lot. I'm like, that's awesome. He said, yeah, Adam lent me this suit. I had it, blah, blah, blah. It has real Kevlar and all this crap. And we nerded out a little more. And I thanked him and kind of like, just, that was it. And I ended up sending him a message on Instagram because he had like reshared one of my posts or something, or Silicon reshared it. And then he reshared the Silicon post. So I just messaged him and said, hey, like now that I know it's you, I mean, thank you for putting on this event. And like, there was so much fun. That was it. And a few months ago, he messaged me back on Instagram and asked if I wanted to come as a guest. Okay. Like, yeah. You sure you have the right guy, right? Like, that's how I felt. Like, and you never know who you're talking to, especially with social media nowadays. Like, if you saw this guy's Instagram profile, I think he has like 400 followers. He's a dad. He's just a dad. You wouldn't know who he is unless you knew who he was. Like, oh, that's Trip. He's that Trip.
Mm-hmm.
You never know who's watching. You never know who you're talking to. And, and I'm not saying fake it. I'm not saying go around and be fake to everybody. Like, I think it's hard. I think it's very hard to be fake nowadays with how much social media there is. All it takes is one person getting a video of you being disgenuine, being like, oh, that's not how you act in your YouTube videos. Like I've seen that happen to some people where they're very different people in person at meet and greets at events. And I can't imagine how exhausting that is. That's
Right.
what I've always wanted. Trying to be like, you can be on for camera. Like, obviously if I'm at an event, I'm a little more, active. You want to be a little bit more excited and hyper, but like, yeah, you never know who you're going to run into, talk to. You never know who's actually in charge of things. Obviously, if I walked up to Adam, it would have been a different conversation, but like, Adam's the face, the celebrity, but there's all of this that goes on in the background. And here he was. So.
Well, definitely that's a good sign from his perspective, because, if he was the kind of person who was walking around every single time you met somebody, he's like, hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm the CEO of all of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yep. Yeah, he was just him. Yeah, they were just wandering around the con, having a good time. And like, I'm excited to see him again. I'm excited to link up with all these people. Odd J, Jorvin Moss. I don't know if you followed him at all. He's an awesome maker. We linked up online and then eventually finally met at Silicon last year. He got to do work with Tested. He had the chance to, he works for DigiKey now, who's going to Silicon. I finally get to meet the Hacksmith after talking to him for like 2+ years. I finally get to meet James after sending him memes and just making fun of him for all this time. I'm really excited. It's weird being in this space because like the Hacksmith, like James is somebody I always looked up to, and like, I don't even know how it happened, but like he messaged me on Instagram one day or something, or just talk. Like, he's a normal dude, and you start to kind of see behind the curtain of a lot of these people, and you're like, oh, you're just a guy. And he stresses like the rest of us with YouTube views and being a content creator, except he just has a lot more of it and makes a lot more money from it. Yeah, he actually just had COVID, and he texted me today. He responded to my story like, hey, I'll see you there. And I'm like, oh, I thought you had COVID. And he's like, oh, no, I'm good now. I'm like, oh, so it was that weaker Canadian COVID, right? And, but like, you tell me 3 years ago that I was going to be, busting the Hacksmith's balls. Like, what? It got out of hand, and like, I love it. It's just fun. I love everybody in this space, and it's just, everyone's awesome.
Yeah, it's a fantastic community, and I couldn't agree more with what you said. That's kind of like I love the way you phrase that, because for me personally, that's been like one of my I guess guiding lights for a long time. Is like, don't burn bridges unless I mean, obviously with some people there's a limit, like if they're like blatantly disrespectful or something like that. But by and large, even like people, even throughout the course of the years I've been doing a podcast, there have been people I've had negative experiences with, and I will never reveal any of that publicly, because A, it's nobody's business, and B, I just feel like you need to have the highest level of class that you can whenever you're dealing with these things, not necessarily for altruistic purposes, like, oh, it may, lead to something bigger if I like kiss this person's ass. I'm not saying that.
No, you kind of need to be, I think you always need to be cognizant of the opposite of that, because you never know how bad it could go. And
that's true too.
Something you definitely, again, because you just never know who's watching. You never know who knows who says it. Social media makes it very tricky. I mean, a rumor, a lie, or some bad news, some gossip, it travels way faster than you can get in front of it. So put yourself in the situations,
right?
Like it's we all have our own personal stuff. I have burned bridges with people in the community. There's people I don't get along with, but like I'm not posting on my Instagram story like screw this person. Like no, just let it go. We'll either forget about it, let it go, or I don't know, just why waste the energy,
Yeah.
I don't hate anybody. I don't hold any grudges against anybody. There's people I just don't get along with, so I won't go out of my way to interact with them. Like no, I'll put my energy somewhere else. That's fine.
Right. Yeah. Move on.
That's a great way to look at it. And so it sounds like there's been a lot of really great opportunities that's come your way, being able to make some of those connections, like you said, with talking with people that you never thought you'd actually engage, especially so friendly too. So you've come so far in 3 years. Looking forward now, what do you feel like would be in your future for the next few years? Like what kind of things do you want to do, or what kind of projects would you like to work on?
I'm really hoping in like 5 years to like sell out and just get addicted to something. I'm kidding. Just spiral hard out liquor.
Cheers to that.
He's finally going to go public and say, I bought all this shit on Etsy. It's actually mine.
Well, there's actually somebody on Etsy. There's somebody on Etsy using my old pictures of my suit from back in England, trying to sell the suit. And it's like, I gotta send an email to Etsy again and be like, listen, like he can't possibly be selling this because it's standing behind me, like whatever. It's flattering, I guess. Sure. I just feel bad if anybody, I kind of want to buy it. It's $1,300. I kind of want to buy it and see what the hell shows up. Because I'll tell you what, I'm getting my money. I'm getting my money back. It's not going to show up. Or they will. They'll be like, yeah, it's right there. He bought it.
Same day shipping.
No. So yeah, that was quick as hell. I'm very excited about. I'm scared. This is a very big month for me. September is it. It's my last month in the military. That's it. So a lot of this is Silicon, and last year I went to solely enjoy it. Last year I went because it was fun. I wanted to meet my friends, but I do have to look at it as a little bit of a paradigm shift now. I am kind of going this weekend. It's a little more business now, and it's not to, grease the right palms and everything. No, but like I need to go now as Frank, the YouTuber and content creator, and, put my best foot forward. I can't just go there to have only a good time. And, I have a booth now. I'm helping host a panel. Like this is going to be work for me now in a sense, and learning that balance. It's scary, the next 3 October, November, and December are 3 very big months because I'm going to be at home the whole time, and I'm working on a very large rebrand. I'm working on like a new YouTube video intro, redoing all my metadata, cleaning up videos, launching a website, redoing merch. Like I want to go into January 2023 and like almost like a relaunch. Like I'm live full time. This is it. Go. So I have a lot of work to do through the holidays, and it's scary, but we'll figure it out. Worst case, I end up working on jet engines. I go work at like Pratt Whitney or Boeing or something. Like I can get in I still have a foot in the aerospace industry. I'm not worried about that. I did 10 years on the same engine, which is very hard to do in the Air Force, but I have a lot more experience than even people getting out at 20 years because I didn't get moved around the different aircraft. I didn't get moved around different engines. I stayed on the same engine, which is very hard to do. So if it all goes belly up, I still have some options. I am staying reserves. I'll stay in the Air Force Reserves. I'll work 1 weekend a month just to keep, medical benefits and dental. Like there's contingency plans in place. Best case, I never have to use any of them, and I can just do this.
So sorry, I'll let you go, Kayla. I'm just talking too much.
Oh no, it's okay. I'll be quick. But something that like the inner counselor part of me wanted to ask, because I feel like it's something that's almost never talked about. with someone, you know, like you who has grown so fast, I think it's valuable for other people to hear. But like, what kind of things do you do to take care of yourself and sometimes detach from, you know, all that stuff coming in? Or do
Ma'am,
you do
ma'am,
anything?
ma'am, are you asking me about mental health right now?
Yes, I think it's
That
valuable.
how dare you bring up something so important? I am a huge I love talking about mental health and social media and content creation because you're right, it's not talked about enough at all. It is taxing. I am so fortunate to not be a female because it's a different ball game. I have tons of female cosplay friends. I see some of the trash they have to deal with. Fortunate, and that's the reality of it. Like that's the reality of society, putting your face out there, putting your body out there, putting your opinions out there because everybody else has opinions. And you know, I can make a video and talk about something and think it's great, or I like this. Hey, look at this Iron Man suit, blah blah blah. And all it takes is one burner account to just be like loser, whatever. And one might not do anything, but hundreds over time. You know, um, you need to unplug. You absolutely need to be able to unplug. Um, I find a hobby. I picked up playing guitar again. I got a one wheel. I tried to find something that has nothing to do with content creation, that has nothing to do. I can just go ride around. It doesn't help me make better content. It doesn't, I can just forget about it, you know. Video games, going to I literally just came from the gym. Like um, you need to be able to unplug and you need to be able to, I think you need to be able to self-reflect too. And I think that's a lot of times what people don't do. Why did that comment piss me off so bad? Why, like, because everybody brush it off. I don't read the comments. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
I read every comment. I read every comment. I'll delete a lot of them. Some you can tell. I'll mess with trolls sometimes. Sometimes it's fun. I grew up a car mechanic, and I spent the last 10 years in the maintenance aircraft space of the military. Very few trolls are going to have a one up on me when it comes to trash talking. Good luck. You aren't going to say anything to me that I haven't heard for the past. No, granted, I have to be a lot more clean now, having a social media presence. I can't say everything I would want to say to some of these people, but yeah, it's you have to take care of yourself because there are some content creators I'm friends with. I won't say names because then it'll become very obvious on why certain things happened, but they put a lot of work into social media creation and that was it. They get real worried about views. They get real worried about those analytics, and it's taxing. It is just exhausting at times. I take breaks. My 3D printers downstairs, I have not turned a single one of them on in over a month. I'm not even kidding. Haven't printed a damn. This is the last thing I printed a few weeks, and this was a quick one-off print. Printed it for a sponsored video, and that was it. Before that, I think the last thing I printed was like a part of Star Boost, like the Walsh helmet. So being able to move around and balance and juggle things helps so much. Like I'm really getting sick of printing shit right now. Let's go paint some stuff. I don't really feel like painting some stuff. Let's do some electronics. I don't want to do electronics. Let's, do some computer tutorials on 3D. So I can move around and balance my mental health that way if I'm getting really burnt out on something. And I have 90 projects going on at the same time. So it's like, I don't want to do Goblin right now. Let's go do Star Boost, yeah, there's no easy answer to it, but it's not for everybody. A lot of people want it to be for them. A lot of people want to try to make YouTube videos, or they want to try to keep up with it, and they want to keep up with the content creation. And they start to see just how mean people can be, because man, people can be mean. And it's not for everybody, it's not. I don't know if I make it look easy. I never try to make it look easy. That's why I always like talking about mental health when it comes up, for sure. I've seen therapists. I've talked to people. Like I won't hide that from anybody, like at all. Like why? Like there's literally professionals out there for you to go to talk to if you're having like difficulties. When my dad died, I was rough, and you got to talk to somebody about it.
Agreed. 100%.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. And I love the way you put that, like especially from the female side of it. Like that's not easy. Like here we have,
It's a whole other bag of cats.
yeah, well, like so Kayla and I do this podcast together, and I'm not gonna say which, but out of the two of us, one of us gets asked about OnlyFans a lot. I'm not gonna say which one of us it is, but
I get OnlyFans requests. Again,
Yeah.
if everything goes belly up, we'll be
right.
Yeah, it's been interesting because I'm also newer into this stuff, and I'm like, not once. I had just like I did like maybe like one or two photos, one doing like Wonder Woman and one doing Hermione, like a long time ago. Otherwise, all the people I've cosplayed since then have been male up until very recently when I just got some stuff for Rogue, and then like, oh my gosh, it started filing in, and I'm like, half y'all are old enough to be my dad. That's concerning. The other half, like you don't know anything about me. And it's just like you're gorgeous, OnlyFans. And I'm like,
so
I don't need
I
some
had
to
this-
wink off.
I had we all four of us, all four Iron Idiots. I don't know if we ever talked about it on the podcast or maybe we did, just that episode never aired. I don't know. We were talking, I was talking to Emily about it and we talked a little bit to Kiara about it, but like, and maybe it's a conversation you need to kind of have with yourself or figure like when you start doing social media and content creation, you're a product now. And it's not like in a derogatory way or anything like to any of us, but like companies looking for sponsorship deals, they're looking at how much money can they make back off of you, so you are a product to sell to them or a product to help push their product, vice versa. And then people who consume social media who are looking for unsavory things, that's the type of stuff they look for. You know, you're not a person, you're this thing on their phone that they see, and it sucks, but like that's what it is. I don't know how you get out of that culture. I have no idea, especially with how much money people make off of things like OnlyFans. I don't think it's going away anytime soon.
And
What
I
you
feel
could,
like, oh, go
what's
ahead.
up? No, good, good.
Oh, I was just gonna say, just in general, going back into what you were talking about with the mental health, is like people don't attach you as having your own thoughts or feelings because you are
You're a
something on their
thing.
phone.
You're a
And
thing now.
it's exactly what you're saying, is that it's hard. And I feel like people, like I lost followers after I said I'm not going to be doing an OnlyFans, and didn't have plans
Good.
on it.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good on
weeding
the hell with
out
them.
yeah,
Good.
but I feel like it's then, looking into what you're doing where people are coming up and seeing you at Comic Cons where you can't just, weed them out like that. You just have to interact with
Yeah.
people who might not associate you with having feelings because you are something from the internet.
Yep.
And that's just, I can imagine at this point, because I'm not at that level, but like I feel like mental health would be so important for someone like you at that point, which is why I want to make such a point for this podcast for people who are trying to do the same thing.
You know what you could do, and I'm just spitballing ideas here. You have a lot of costumes now, right? You have the boba. You're working on the gender bent Homelander.
Mhm.
Just put those costumes on, like have those on fully, but then you put a bikini on over them and paywall that shit. Like start the OnlyFans and like $20, all photos unlocked, whatever word verbiage you want to use.
Get to
And
see Homelander in a bikini.
I have no idea how much I've thought about doing this in the suit, going to a beach or something and putting a bikini on over it and laying in the sand and shit. Like paywall that shit. Like what are they gonna, and like type your description, like, and do the blurry photo, like where they like it looks like, oh, she is on a beach,
Have to unlock.
Yeah, for $50 I'll take the top off.
And they yeah, right. And just you take that's it.
Just trolling
there's
people.
Yeah, why not? Why, like, I know, and that kind of joke isn't for everybody, but like, no, I would absolutely do that shit. That would be so like you. And how are they going to complain to OnlyFans?
Yeah,
like you got what you paid for. Like this is what were you expecting? Like
Yeah.
just do like 1 month of that and just see how much money you can milk out of people. Because those like
I'm feeling
you don't gotta be
inspired.
we can workshop this. Message me. We'll figure it out.
Mando Keeney.
Tons of ideas. My God.
You've thought a lot about OnlyFans, man. Don't you have a con to go to? Like,
It's first off, it's gonna be called Only Franks.
nice.
Second off, there'll be a lot of hot dogs. That's it. Just paywall the shit out of them, and it's just gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot dogs on a grill or something. Like, what did you expect?
Sponsored by Nathan's.
Right. Yeah.
No. Sponsored by Ballpark Franks. Get with the
Yes.
Come on.
I love it.
Gotta send a
Come on.
DM.
That's Kayla's comfort food. So
I know we were just talking about earlier. So I'm a dietitian, and we were talking, and I released a small ungodly burp, and he asked me what I had for dinner. I said, threw back 2 hot dogs, and he just starts laughing. And it's like my comfort food. I ate it all the time in undergrad because it's like it was cheap and easy. You can just throw it in the microwave, and you have no patience.
Well,
And
I'll ignore the microwave part, but yeah, continue.
I usually, it was usually, imagine a college student, tired, maybe
Hard,
other things
well, I
going
know.
on. Just gotta eat if you get to eat that day.
right.
Yeah, that's fair. No, that's totally fair.
Yeah. Only Frank. I like that. I wanted
Yeah,
to start
me
one
too.
called Only Finch.
There you go.
Yeah, and actually I got to give credit since we're recording. I got to give the name of that. I got to give Brittany credit for that. Because she's the one who
Only
came up with
Finch?
that. Yeah, because originally I was like, I'm thinking about just calling it like Finch eggs. And she's like, that's too on the nose. Just go with Only Finch. That's way better. I'm like,
Yep.
that actually does sound a lot better.
Classic, clean.
Yes.
If Miss Captain Britt does happen to watch this, I love you, adore you. You're awesome.
We
Keep it
all
up.
do.
She's amazing.
She's awesome.
We're hoping
You're
the three of
honorary
us,
Iron Idiot.
we're hoping the three of us might get to room together at New York City Comic Con. We're still trying to like figure flights and stuff out and schedules and arrangements. And
I know Danny and Brittany were planning on going too. I'll be there. So
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
we'll
You're
hook
coming.
up. Sweet. We're gonna be in there. We're gonna be in kind of like a rush job. Like we're getting in, I want to say Friday afternoon. And then we both leave at an ungodly early Sunday morning. Like we both have 8 a.m. flights out of JFK. So, but yeah, Sunday we're gonna hit that con hard, like
Yeah.
like to the point where our feet are like gone and we just have nubs at the end of our legs. Because
Speaking of that, you have numbing spray. Thanks to Arnett, who told us you can spray numbing spray on your feet if you're wearing any kind of heels or shoes for long periods of time. Bridesmaids do it. So anyone who's listening, I will give you the full review because I will be trying that next time I'm in heels, which
I'll try that. I got heels in this thing.
Oh yeah, there you
I'll
go.
try that shit.
Numbing spray.
yeah, and we
Maybe
joked.
it'll work to a certain extent for heels.
Yeah, and we've joked about it because we're going to Dragon Con here in about a week and a half in Atlanta.
Damn it.
You should be there. You're not
I
too
know.
terribly far from away from there, are you?
6 hours. 6
Oh,
hours.
okay.
I'm
away
6
from
hours
Atlanta.
too. I'm driving. It'll be fun.
So with Silicon, I get back on Monday and then I'm off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm off all next week. I took leave to get stuff done around the house. And then from Friday to Monday, that's Memorial Day or Labor Day, one of those.
Mhm. Yep.
I'm off. I'm military. The base is shut, so like I could drive down Thursday night and stay and go, but like after getting done with Silicon and I didn't get tickets to Dragon Con, and I don't have a hotel. So like I could go, but it would be a real shit show. And it'll be there next year. Like I'm going, and then I got to prep for New York Comic Con. So it's like, I think I might have to just miss Dragon Con this year for my own sanity and mental health too. Like,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I've noticed too with a lot of the Comic Cons are back to back, like in the upcoming 2 months. And then in March, there's like 8 Comic Cons back to back or on the same like weekends, like big ones. And I'm like,
Yeah.
can't
There's
really
a
go.
really big 3D printing. It's like an East Coast 3D printing thing going on. I don't know the name of it. Joel invited me, 3D printing nerd. And then I think Uncle Jesse's was going to go, but it's the same weekend as New York Comic Con. And it's like bad timing, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not the Makers Fair, is it? Because I heard about that being an East Coast thing.
maybe it is. I have it in messages somewhere, but it's a really big East Coast 3D printing gathering
Mhm.
thing, convention.
I think
It's
that
like-
might be.
no, 3D printing and additive manufacturing is still very much its own thing. Um, so I get why they wouldn't really care about it being on the same weekend as New York Comic Con. But when you're in both spaces, it's like, well, that sucks because
Yeah.
I have reason to go to both of these. But yeah,
Mhm.
no, New York Comic Con is my bread and butter, so I want to go.
Well, that's what's going to be brutal about March because WonderCon is there, and we're like, Kayla and I are definitely going to WonderCon. Like we're like
WonderCon
100%.
is my annual.
Yes,
I'm aiming.
nobody's going to stop us from going to that. But then it just got announced a couple weeks ago that C2E2 in Chicago moved their con up to being the weekend after WonderCon, and C2E2 is like my home con. Like I live 2 hours
Well,
away from there, and that's going to be that's going to be a
isn't
brutal like.
C2E2 twice a year?
No, they used to be. See, for a long time it was in March, but then post COVID they moved it to like July, and they've
Because it was
just
just happened.
yeah they
Because
did
that was when
just
Kiara went
happen.
to.
Yeah, and I was there too, and they
Oh,
so for next year they're moving all the way up to March, and it's like the weekend after WonderCon. It's gonna be like, man,
so
that's gonna be a rough like
I think
nine,
that's
10
Orlando's
days.
Comic Con too.
if I bet if I Googled it right now, I'm betting they're not put on by the same organizers because like they're the big circuit cons, New York Comic Con, MegaCon, WonderCon. I think they're all ran by ComicCon.org. I don't think C2E2 is because they're all
Mhm.
competing. They're all competing with each other and shit.
Yeah.
So that's probably why that sucks. Because
Yeah.
we want to. That's Kiara's like go to. Like we all want to go there and meet
Mhm.
up with her. We were supposed to. Like me and Danny were also supposed to be there with Emily and Kiara. They were supposed to be this event we were doing in California, and we were all gonna. Me, Danny, and Emily were gonna fly from Cali to C2E2 and go there. But me and Danny weren't able to go. So that's why only Emily ended up there. And yeah, like WonderCon and Silicon, I definitely like. WonderCon was it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. It was so much fun. It was packed. Like I want that to be my like big annual con. And then MakerCon wise, and it's nice because it's kind of the opposite end of the year, is Silicon, in August. So that's plenty of lead time.
Mhm. Now that being Silicon, what does it call that? What does it primarily focus on?
It's a MakerCon, not a Comic Con.
MakerCon.
It focuses on making of movie props and TV stuff and costumes and it's still very much a Comic Con. Like there are comic book vendors but like they want to focus more on the people who are making stuff in the community. That's what a lot of the panels are about. How to make. It's not panels about fangirling over like a movie star or a cosplayer like, oh my god, you're such an inspiration, what god. It's not that's not what the panelists are about. That's what you go to Comic Cons for. That's what you go to meet and greets for. A MakerCon or Silicon in this instance is more about like behind the scenes of it. Like there's a lot of demos, there's a lot of how do you get started doing this. That's what the focus is.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool. So, Frank, have you done like a cosplay contest or have you thought about doing that? Because I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever heard of you doing something like
I
that.
have not, for two reasons. Well, the only contest I ever entered was the online one, the Comic Con at Home thing. I've never done an in person one on a stage or anything like that. One because they're always at night. They're always at like inconvenient times, and it's like I just wore this damn suit for 4 or 5 hours. I don't want to put it back on and try to waddle on the stage. Like, and if I'm bringing my suit to a con, I'm not going for me in a competition. I'm going to wear it around the con floor so people can take pictures with me and get photos with Iron Man. Like that's so much fun. When you hear a little kid, you scream from across the food court, Iron Man, and beeline it for you. Every bit of bullshit you've ever had to deal with becomes worth it. Like it is the cutest thing. Because yeah, you can walk around the streets. I'm sure if I went to somewhere in LA, I might run into Christian Bale or Tom Cruise on accident. Like, oh, that's cool. They get a photo. Where are you gonna go to accidentally run into Batman or Iron Man or Wonder Woman? Like you can't just go to the beach and run into them unless it's like Venice Beach, but that's different. Like
Or it's the only Frank speech.
It's the only price we right? But like, that like that's like what I've started explaining cons to people when they're like, well, like, why do you want to like dress up and pretend to be a character? It's like, I don't get into character. I don't walk around pretending to be Tony Stark. I don't like that is fine if people do. If people want to get into the character, run around like Deadpool or the Joker, that's fine. That's improv or acting or you're immersive. That's a part of it. But I get to walk around in an Iron Man suit and give all these people a chance to take this picture that like you can't just go and get. And I think that's a lot of fun, especially kids, adults, whatever. Like you take pictures with anybody and it's fun. It's rewarding. It's a blast. So it's yeah, it's something.
Sure.
Excuse me, it is a total nerd ball. Like, that's what I love
yeah.
about going to
Absolutely.
any con. It's all kinds of people. I mean, thousands of people just unabashedly nerding the F out over all the crap that they're into. It
You could say that they're nerdy AF.
right, yeah.
Nerdy.
The plug.
Title screen. We're 40 minutes in, and this is the intro.
There's the trailer. Yeah.
Welcome to Nerdy AF.
That is too good. But yeah, and I love it. And when I was at C2E2 not too long ago, that was great. That was the first time I'd been to a con since COVID. And it was just like it felt like a fish getting back in water again. Like it was like, oh, these are my people. This is my tribe. This is where I belong. These people are like the greatest community on the planet. I love it so incredibly much.
There is literally something for everybody. Like it doesn't matter what you're into. I mean, at GalaxyCon in Raleigh, like there were professional wrestlers there, like who were at booths doing table signings. Granted, the lines for them weren't that long compared to some other people, but like there were still people excited to see them there. There was still memorabilia and still all this other stuff all over the place. Movies, pop culture, like everybody likes something that's on the movies or on TV or oh, I grew up watching Star Wars. Oh, I recognize that actor, or I'm in the Marvel or I'm in the DC, or yeah, I love how mainstream it's become now. It's just you don't have to hide it anymore. I think the people who think it's weird and try to shit on it, they're kind of the minority now when it comes to a lot of this. Like,
yeah, I feel like escapism is becoming a real thing. And I don't necessarily think that's bad either, where if people feel more confident and comfortable or being to like see their inspiration dress up as them, it gives them a lot of power. And I really like to see that too. And then when you, like you said, I've had the same moment when someone like a little kid, I think I dressed up as like Princess Anna from like Frozen way back in the day. And I was like, I feel like I am a Disney princess. And that was an ego boost for me, but also like to see the kid come up to you, like you and like fully invest in you. That pure innocence was just something that made everything so worth it. And
it's incredible.
Very healing.
And how many people will never get to think about that? Like a lot of people never get to know what that feels like. And it was, I think it was at WonderCon, some little kid, it was a little boy, I think, and I can't see below me. Like if the mask is down, I'm here. I don't really know what's going on. Other people are like, hey, Frank, look over here. Like Danny or Kiera, they're kind of directing you and all that. And then I'm just standing there and I think I put one hand up for a photo and I just feel a little hand grab one of my fingers because I didn't even know there was a little kid next to me. It was so cute. I'm just standing there just like, I'm just in the suit, just like, I think the mask is down because I'm crying. Like that stuff, like, go ahead, say whatever you want online. I don't care. Like, shut up.
Right. Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah. I agree 100%. It's gotten to the point where like nerd culture is so mainstream that if you don't like it, you're the one out of the loop. Like you're now the minority. You're now like the one over there. And for being a guy with gray hair in his beard, I grew up at a different time where like you kept that crap hidden or you got a basketball thrown in your face at recess. Like, and so to sit here and like just like every single day of my life when I'm scrolling through Instagram, something blows my mind. Something is just like, holy shit, that is amazing.
I have had people I went to high school with who I very much have made fun of me for being hanging out with certain friends who I had in high school and middle school growing up. I had long hair and I was kind of, I was nerdy. I got picked on or made fun of. I've had some of those exact people message me asking me if I can make them a helmet or if I can make them a prop or something for either them or their kid. And it's like, no. Like, no, man. I ghost them. Like, no.
You're not gonna like make it and take a
Sorry.
dump in it and send it to him. Be like, hey, this is for you. Payback.
No.
Retribution.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll put my effort somewhere else. Like, but good to know you're paying attention. Oh, you're still living in the same town we grew up in? Sick.
Yep. It happens.
Hmm.
It's been really wonderful to think about too, just seeing, probably like the impact that you've had. I know I posted something on my personal Instagram, so not a lot of my friends followed this one, but the ones who I have done some commissions for or like talked with, or they know I'm into 3D printing, but really don't know the extent. Every single person has sent me a frankly built TikTok. And then I'm like, yeah, I've seen him before. This is like how I got into it. But it's so cool now to like think about and tell me what your perspective is on this of thinking like how many people that you got into 3D printing. Like when you sit back and think about that, how does that make you feel? And then like what kind of things do you want to do with kind of like that power moving forward?
Put me on the spot. Jesus Christ. I don't know. I don't know. I still don't know how to react to it because like I still try to consider myself the same person. I just there's a number counter that's just higher than other people's. Like that's it. Like I mean I just have more followers or subscribers. And I mean it makes it worth it. I don't know. When I went to GalaxyCon here in Raleigh, I don't. That was I was recognized there more than anywhere I've ever been recognized in my suit. And that was it got me choked up a few times because I just like you don't know how to act. It's weird. Like I'm me. Why are you recognizing? Like what is going on here? And I don't know. It makes me want to keep doing it only for the fact that, that's why I'll always say yes to like podcasts. I did a podcast, just little things like that. Obviously, it's not like all about the podcast and stuff, but I think this dude on YouTube, I think he only had like 50 or 60 subscribers on his YouTube channel podcast. I don't remember what it was. And he like kind of made a dig at himself about it. It's like, yeah, thank you for saying yes to this. I know I don't have a lot of subscribers. It's like, but like, what if there's one of your subscribers who like never thought they could do something like this? Like, who am I to say no to that? Who am I to say no to like not coming on to something like this? Like maybe somebody else will get into this because they like heard me talk about it. And that I think that's fun for me, like to be able to hopefully break it down in a sense that like it becomes more approachable to people, more realistic, and seeing how people are evolving in this and like hearing people say stuff like that, like I got into this because of you, like it's awesome. I mean I don't know what else to say to it. It's just not something I ever thought would be a thing. The only reason I ever got into it was I'm having a lot of problems with this suit, or I'm running into this problem. This is kicking my ass. Well, all right, I figured it out. Let me throw out a video to show you like, hey, this is where I messed it up, but then eventually I landed here, and I just wasn't seeing a lot of that transparency and just was trying to fill a void, I guess, so
it's been a pretty interesting like virus that spreads. I like to give it that kind of term because the amount of people that I know who have like seen just like a little bit of my stuff and they they'll friends I know in real life and they'll message me, they're like, hey man, that's really cool, I'm thinking about getting into 3D printing, what can you tell me about it? And I don't say shit. I just send them the link to Frankly Built's YouTube channel, and then like 2 months later they're sending me a picture of this Iron Man helmet they built, and they're like, oh thanks man. I'm like, don't thank me, I was literally just the mail service to get you where you needed to go, man. So
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was thinking the same thing. I've done that too. And it's great knowing that you're in the service. This might like reach out to you, but I work at the VA, and so I've worked with a lot of veterans who have had substance abuse difficulties, and they were in our programs and things like that. And I'm a dietitian, so I was just sitting in, like trying to see how nutrition can relate to some of those issues, obviously with alcohol and other kinds of substances. But a lot of them always said, like, I don't know what to do with all my free time. Everywhere you go, people drink. And I'm like, you know what you could do? You could do some 3D printing. And I put the shameless plug in there, but like a lot of veterans love working with their hands and having something
Yeah.
to be proud of. A lot of them are nerdy too. And I had like a
A
few who
lot
came
of them are
back.
nerdy. A
Oh yeah,
lot of them. Oh my
it's
God.
so
You pull
fun.
out a deck of magic cards around a bunch of Marines, you'd be very surprised. Oh man. Yeah.
Next episode.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah. I had no idea you were part of the VA. We're gonna talk.
Yes.
We're gonna talk more. I'm gonna
Oh,
message you
yes.
because
Yeah.
I'm about to be very involved with the VA. Going, yeah, we'll get there.
I can help you out.
No, it's an amazing hobby because even if you don't, I think that was the thing I was able to corner with the hobby and social media was somebody in my Discord, I think, said it the best. They're like, you make 3D printing look cool, where before there were people like me or Uncle Jesse or people making these videos, it just, you heard about 3D printing and you're like, it either sounded really complicated or expensive, or like you just didn't think about it as something that could make other stuff. I had a math teacher get mad at me, or math or a science teacher who I did a Zoom call with. They were like kind of joking with me. They're like, I really wish I had the appeal you had. And I was like confused. This was like a year and a half, 2 years ago when I really started just kind of more reaching out. He's like, I watched a lot of your videos and you're tricking people into learning stuff. And I'm like, I never thought about it like that. And he's like, you don't understand. They knock on that door because they want to learn how to make an Iron Man helmet. And by the time they're done with some of your videos, they now know how to use a 3D printer. They know how to use an Arduino a little bit. They know coding and circuitry and diagrams and painting. And it's like, they come out the other end. He's like, I wish I could walk into my classroom and be like, who wants to learn about coding? They'll all glaze over and want to kill me, And I took that to heart on just like having the ability to do that. Like, trick people into learning something, which isn't really a bad thing,
Bill Nye of 3D printing.
Yeah. No, that is absolutely Joel Telling with his hair. Dude is wild. I get to finally meet him this weekend too. So I am, every day I think about how this could go away overnight, every day. And that's how I try to keep myself grounded. My Instagram was deleted or deactivated thanks to their algorithm one time. That was terrifying. That taught me to diversify a lot, spread your risk. And then my YouTube was demonetized randomly, my entire YouTube for 5 days. I didn't really make that public because I was freaking out. And that was a few months ago. 3 or 4 months ago, I literally woke up at like 2 a.m. in the morning and I had an email from YouTube saying your channel is no longer eligible for monetization. And that was right around the time where it was time for me to make the choice to stay in the military or get out. I'm not a religious person, but man, if you want to talk about a sign, holy shit, I was freaking out. I literally got out of bed, came up here, read the email. I had to submit a video appeal explaining why my content was it was demonetized because it wasn't original content. And what I think the algorithm caught was my TikTok. It thought I was reposting my TikTok videos, stealing them and posting them on YouTube. So I had to sit in my room. It was like the video is still on YouTube privated because I don't want to remove it. It only has 8 views because I had to send it up and it had to go in for review. And it was one of the most stressful 5 days of my life. And it made me question everything. Like, is this not original content? Can I make a living off of this? Am I just lying to my imposter syndrome set in hard? Yeah, it was bad. It was very bad.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I mean, I admit that it's probably a good thing that places like YouTube are keeping an eye out on that. But on the flip side, if you nail somebody who's like doing everything palms up and doing it the right way, and then bam, you just hit them with the hammer.
And they big social media platforms, they need to hit first, ask questions later, because it could be unsavory content. They need to be able to flag and take down this stuff immediately. They didn't do anything wrong. The only thing I'm still annoyed about, I never got an actual reason why. It was just an email saying, we apologize for the inconvenience. It seems we had made a mistake, yada, yada, yada. Your monetization eligibility has been reinstated. And you can actually see my revenue, my AdSense. It literally just goes drop 5 days. It comes right back up. You don't get back paid. They don't back pay you, you know. Corridor Digital, if either of you guys watch them, their entire channel was just hacked and like bad. And we're talking, they lost tens of thousands of dollars over 5 days because because YouTube, you know, they got hacked. All their videos were privated by the hacker. The hacker could have done a lot more damage, but for some reason they didn't. They just privated all their videos, uploaded one of their own videos, and started a live stream and changed the channel name. They have, I think they have 10 million subs. Like it was something, and it was scary to watch. Like what happened to this channel? They were, you know, they had other avenues and stuff, but yeah. Do you guys follow It's Boy in Space on TikTok?
No, but I'm gonna now.
He I can't even remember his name. I feel like an idiot now. We're friends. We just talk on Instagram. But he had a very large, he has a 3.4 million on TikTok, I think. And his TikTok got deleted, got deactivated by TikTok. They just took it down. And he had just moved to Seattle to start working with Joel, 3D printing nerd. But he was unfortunately a very good example of, he had no diversification. He had no YouTube, like he had a YouTube, but like didn't push it. He had maybe 2,000 Instagram followers, you know, like all of his brand deals were TikTok. All of his eggs were in one basket, and it went away overnight. He was able to get it back. But it was a week or two of him trying to rebuild on a second account. And, you know, like some of those viral hits on TikTok, you just can't duplicate. You know? So it's scary. If there's any aspiring content creators out there, just spread the risk. Cross-pollination is the hardest thing you will do. If I wish I could get a quarter of my TikTok followers over to my damn YouTube, it is a nightmare. Every click you need to make somebody do, you're losing at least half of the potential. So, all right, click my profile. All right, 100 people were going to do it. Cool. Now click the link in my profile. Well, now you're down to 50. Well, now scroll through my link in bio and click my YouTube. Now you're down to 20. Like you lose half every time you need to make one more step. And it's a nightmare, but you got to do it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Well, we are getting up against the clock here. I cannot thank Frank and you enough for taking the time to come on this podcast. This was only our second episode, so we were excited that we could get you on and run with this thing.
I hope it went in any direction you were hoping it went.
Oh, well, before we close out, I just need to know, how does one pee in an Iron Man cosplay?
Oh, yes. This needed to be asked because it came up in our last podcast, urinating at a con while cosplaying, and that exact subject was discussed. Imagine those people dressed as Iron Man who need to go to the bathroom.
Especially with like a morph suit underneath, like, spill the tea, Frank.
How do you pee in an Iron Man suit? Just like that.
Yeah, 3D printed a filtration system in there.
You could drink that water. You don't. You don't drink the water because there's no water, because you don't pee, because you hold it like a functioning adult in society. I don't get these questions. You hold it. You friggin' hold it. You've never held a pee before? Like, I have to pee. Do you just go? Are these people walking around their life just like, oh, I'm a heart surgeon in the middle of an operation. I gotta go pee, and just leave? No, you hold it.
I would.
It. Jesus Christ.
I gotta go.
Depends is a good solution.
Yeah.
Iron diapers.
Yes. Brand it right now. Get it on the market.
Stark Industries. Iron diapers. No, you honestly, there's a little bit of a prep. I'm not drinking a bunch of water beforehand. I'm not going to Chipotle and getting the extra spicy burrito. Like there's some foresight and prep on, I'm going to be locked in this thing for a few hours, and just no. Like if I'm taking this off, it's to keep it off, not to go to the bathroom. No.
Mm-hmm.
Good. No.
Iron Man doesn't pee. What are we talking about?
Right? Yeah.
People don't pee. Nobody pees.
You just meditate and make it go away. It's fine. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
All right.
And you're in so much pain anyway. You don't have time to even think about peeing.
Focus on it, everything else. Yeah. That's the one question I definitely need to get in before the end. So thank you for that.
I'm here for you.
It's that's gonna end up like a theme in every episode we do. We're gonna ask, so how do you pee? Like, yeah, for
Need
sure.
some tips, man.
Well,
It's
once again, Frank, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to be on the podcast. And yeah, we're looking forward to everything you post from here on out. I'm excited to see the content you got from Silicon and everything going on. And yeah, hopefully we'll get to catch up to you in New York City.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me, guys. Any time you want me back, just let me know.
Oh, I shouldn't have made
Until
that
I get
offer.
Until I get on your nerves.
All right. Thanks again, sir.
Thank you.